Entering the Mayo Experience.
That Mayo Experience. That Mayo Experience. That Mayo Experience. Experience.
Welcome to the Pat Mayo Experience, presented by Underdog. Monday Night Football picks coming up a little bit later on. We're going to recap week one, go over the best waiver wire pickups, and a whole lot more. Conner Allen from Betsperts.com, Ryan Noonan from Betsperts.com, and 4for4.com, both on the line with me. I took a bath, Noonan, week one in terms of, well, I spent the most money on Underdog, and I did not return as much. Jaden Reed did me in. All I needed for him was to go under, and I have a huge winning day. He beats that total within like 2 catches and inside the first quarter, and that was the end of me. How did you do?
It was a decent week. I limped in a little bit, to be honest, right? I feel like week one is super tricky. We spend all this time just, in the preseason, breaking these teams down. We're drafting best ball leagues. We're making future bets. We're doing all this stuff. And then week one gets a little squirrely pretty consistently. So I didn't want to be overconfident in knowing or presuming to know what maybe I don't know. It just tends to be a pretty noisy day. So I proceeded with caution. Personally, really good. Kind of flat, a little positive for subscribers on our end at 4for4. But hey, we'll take a small win better than a big loss or even a small loss.
How about you, Connor? You seem like you were jovial pre-show.
Yeah,
I assume you're a winner.
Well, I want to give a quick shout out here. 2 things. Bill, Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt, won me a good chunk of money on that nice 40, 50-yard run. We talked about it on our live stream. We talked about it in the Discord. It was like 32 and a half, something like that, when Chris Rodriguez's dad was tweeting out that he was going to be inactive early in the morning, started hammering some Bill overs and alts. And so those cash, thankfully, I was a little worried. I don't think he got a carry until like the second quarter, but those came through. And then, Noonan with the Dolphins' worst team in the NFL call. That is looking real good right now after 1 week. I know it's a little early to victory lap it, but wow, that was dominant. It was dominant for the Colts, and I don't think that they're that good of a team.
One of the bigger props that I ended up playing was thanks to the Sharp Stack app. We were live on the show on Thursday. Rob, Cam, and I, we were going through what are the better prop plays of the week, and we got the Christian Kirk news that it was almost the identical thing where it was reported, but nothing had changed yet, and Bet365 was still hanging a 14.5 receiving prop on Jaden Higgins for that game. And so we were like, hey, you got to bet it right now if you're going to bet it. And then on the Saturday show, when I went through it again, he had been boosted up to like 39.5. And I was like, well, you can just play a middle here if you really want to. It's almost it's over a 20-yard difference between the over and what the under is now being offered at. So I bet the under on that. So I just slammed it right in the middle. It was that never happens. It was perfect.
That's hot. That's a nice, good start to week one. So it was an awful week one for you as well. Connor and I were on the wrong side of that. We thought we had some great CLV. We hit Nico Collins over 5.5 receptions before the news, speculating that was going to be the case. We felt really good about where we were looking at CLV wise in that game script wise, matchup, all that stuff. And not a great week for alpha wide receiver ones across the league.
No, my ladders of Tyreek Hill and Malik Neighbors didn't really pan out. You got pretty lucky with old Bill Krosky there, Connor. I'm not going to lie to you.
Oh, totally luck boxed into it. But it was always, that was the theory, is that he's just, that much better than everyone else, busts a bad Giants defense. Yeah, probably shouldn't have gotten any alts. I think 32.5 probably could have made sense, was probably fine. But the alts were definitely lucky on that last, 45-yard run, I think.
Yeah, I guess the one thing, the 2 things that I was supremely confident in, and the other one ended up being a push. I really loved Denver this week, and we'll get to Denver in a second because their offense looked absolutely pitiful. I went back and watched the game again this morning, and it was still as bad as you remember. It was horrible. But I love the Raiders. I had the Raiders boosted up. I got CoolBet to boost them up to plus 140 on the money line. It was the best price by 15 cents anywhere in the world. So if you're in Canada, outside of Ontario, and you like quick payouts and fun boosts, because I have my boosts up there every single week, go sub to CoolBet right now. You can go play on it. The link is down in the description. Easy stuff. So that was a winner. And the Browns, I went 80-20 on the money line and spreads. So they covered, no problem. But Connor, they should have won the game.
Crazy. So many opportunities. They were, I don't know if dominating is the right word, but it felt like they were dominating. They had so much. They were just playing better. Their defense played extremely well. They just couldn't punch it in. They couldn't finish them off. I thought the Browns should have won.
I thought they should have won as well. You know,
Field goals, extra points. I mean, that's it. They'd have been there. Like
two guys. Insane. Two guys to blame in that game. One, the kicker. He has no vowels in his last name, so just cut him. Just get him away from me. And Jerry Jeudy was the other guy. He dropped a very important third down conversion later in the game that probably would have facilitated them. Ended up going down, at least trying another field goal. Whether they would have made it or not, who knows? But earlier on in the game, it was not a great throw from Flacco, but he just tipped the ball up in the air for a pick, and that just stunted their drive at that point in the game too. So the Browns should have won just based on the way that they played with the turnovers and drops. They don't bounce it up for the turnover. They make the one catch. They probably win the game that way too.
That was the one you needed, right? That was Connor made the case for it on our shows this week that they were very much live in that game for your, I don't want to say that your over is dead on the team, for the season, because I know you were very bullish, but like that felt like the one they needed to have. And they, again, showed up a little bit, played some, pretty solid man in the second half, 7 yards of offense for the Bengals. I mean, they averaged like they had 2.9 yards per play for the week. I mean, it's really hard to win a football game on the road in the division at less than 3 yards per play, and they managed to kind of steal one. So that's a tough one for the season-long Browns over 5.5.
The Browns need to go away from Jeudy. I mean, this is like Cedric Tillman. I mean, I know he had one of his own bobbles as well, but like at this point, like he's way better. Like Jeudy just looks like he's like, I don't know, disinterested at times. Like played pretty bad, kept dropping the ball. I don't know. Harold Fannin popped off too. So I think Harold Fannin, and Tillman. And then I think that Dylan Sampson guy played pretty well, at least out of the backfield. I'm interested to see. I think there'll probably be a 1-2 punch once Judkins comes back in the next, a couple of weeks, I'd say.
So what do you make of this? Well, let's think about this fantasy-wise, because Dylan Sampson's pretty widely available, Noonan. And obviously Judkins might be back this week. It might be another week. What do you see this backfield turning into? Is it just say bye-bye to Jerome Ford and both these guys end up splitting carries? Because Sampson didn't look very good on the ground, but they utilized him as much as they could through the air. Same with Fannin. Like Fannin didn't run as many routes as Njoku. It's just they left Fannin wide open the entire game.
Pat, this is going to be your favorite player in the league. This is hot Dylan Sampson, right? Like you want to talk to Sampson. Who are the 5 best running backs in the league? Dylan, right? We're going to get this all year from you, right? I could feel it.
If he's any good.
Yeah. Well, it's a tough situation, right? I mean, we don't know what's going on with Jenkins. That's where the draft capital is. His usage right now is fantastic. So short term, I think he's definitely in play, like in waiver wires. He's probably drafted in most deeper leagues at this point. But, if you're, playing in an 8 or 10 team league, I suppose maybe you need to kind of take a look at your waiver wire, see if he's out there. I imagine he probably holds on to the 3-down role. We know what Jerome Ford is as a player. That's why you double tap running back in the draft, because you're like, we need to go away from, anything that looks like 10 to 15 touches for Jerome Ford in a given weekend. So that seems to be at least an optimal decision. But short term, yeah, I mean, he could be in play. Look, they're 12.5, 13-point dogs in week 2 against the Ravens. Should be heavily involved, at least in the passing game. So definitely short term if you need a plug in. We did have some injuries this weekend. So he could be at least worth scooping for now.
What do you make of Cleveland against Baltimore this week in week 2, Connor? Because I think that people are going to like Cleveland based on what they did against Cincinnati, but it feels like their defense is fundamentally not geared to beat the Ravens because the run defense isn't all that good. They love attacking the quarterback, and now all of a sudden you have an elusive quarterback and a team that frankly just doesn't even care to throw the ball if they don't have to.
Yeah, see, this is going to be a problem. I think we talked up the Browns against the Bengals based on that matchup and how the Browns match up against them, which I thought was really strong. I think this could be a really troublesome spot here for the Browns, especially specifically on offense too. Like Flacco was checking the ball down a lot. He wasn't forcing the ball downfield. Maybe that was because guys weren't getting open. But that's again a problem against this Ravens team. That yes, they just let up 41 points against the Bills, but I still think that they're a really, really, really good unit. I mean, a lot of those plays where the Ravens kind of just sat back after a while and let them dink and dunk, and then Josh Allen made a bunch of unbelievable plays that. I mean, Joe Flacco has never dreamed of having in his arsenal. So I really have a tough time backing the Browns here, even at a big spread. So, yeah, I think that the Ravens are probably going to have their way, honestly, with this Browns team.
What do you see with it, Noonan?
I mean, you're probably best off, again, we don't joke about this. No one should be blind betting sides and totals in the NFL, right? It's a pretty efficient market. But I think long-term, if you're taking, double-digit points in the division, you're probably coming out on top. And the Browns have been feisty at times, against much superior Ravens teams over the years. My takeaway from that game last night, the Sunday Night Football game, which was absolutely epic. I don't really care. The Ravens are the best team in football. Josh Allen is the best player in the league, and he made Superman plays for 90 minutes at the end. But like the Ravens were absolutely destructive. They almost got 10 yards per play against the defense that we think is at least above average. They did it through the air. They did it through like all sorts of different types of looks. Derrick Henry stiff arming dudes into the middle of next week. Like they're just going to be a problem. They have a bunch of depth up front in terms of pass rush. There's depth in the secondary. Like I didn't think we'd see a bunch of Chigawuzie. We saw him and he was awesome. So they just have talent at all three levels. So the Ravens are the best team in football. I think it's actually worse for the Browns in the short-term narrative base that they gave that one up. They're going to come back in and want to make sure they take care of business and put a team away, and the Browns just happen to be the next team up.
They also gave the ball to a guy to score their first touchdown, the Browns, that is. And I thought it was Shadur Sanders at first. I was like, did they bring him in to play running back? What is going on here? And it was like, no, it's Raheem Sanders. I was like, I don't know who that is.
Can you imagine the Monday morning discourse if it was just we were getting goal line Shador carries? It would be amazing.
I actually thought the Browns offense, it was a lot of dink and dunk, and there's a few teams I want to point out who also looked very dink and dunk. They were trying to force the ball downfield, but the Bengals basically just played too high the entire time. We're like, yeah, you're not going to beat us deep. If you're going to beat us, you're going to have to string together 16 play drives, but underneath it was wide open the entire time. They were not running the ball efficiently at all. So I do think in a spot where Flacco still has the big arm. They do have the talent, Connor, to go down the field, that maybe some of the problems that the Bills posed for them in that intermediate range, like the 15 to 30 yard range, could crop up again next week. That'd be my only hesitation if I wasn't going to go all Ravens all the time.
Yeah, it was interesting because like none of that was open until late. So like there was the before half thing where they played prevent, but Josh Allen had 64 passing yards with 20 seconds left in the first half. I mean, like he was really not doing anything, to be honest, through the air. And then things opened up a little bit more. And then, he started blasting him downfield. And so, maybe Cleveland sees that tape and is like, okay, we're going to get Cedric, Tillman, and Judy just going on like deep crossers and, like getting them going there. Maybe that's a possibility. I'm hesitant to see if they have enough time to like do that. But I don't know. I mean, it's like, I think the Browns are a lot more live than most people thought overall. So, shout out to us, pat on the back there in general. But I think big takeaway is, the Ravens are still an awesome team.
Do you think this hurts them at all going into next week? Like having a crushing defeat in front of everyone on Sunday Night Football to what is really turning into their arch rival?
Yeah, that's a fair question. I mean, they do have to, it's hard for us to like actually quantify what that is, but there is a series now, a long string of these scenarios where the Ravens don't put away, either inferior teams or teams in which they are out and cruising to, right? And then we've seen it in bigger moments, even than this in playoff spots. That's the worry, right? That's part of the Ravens handicap coming into the season. If you were to pick them in the futures market, like Connor and I both picked them to win the Super Bowl. We were not alone. Market was there with us as well for the most part. But this is it. And they didn't answer the bell in week one. Those things to me feel, I don't know, like just circumstance of the moment. I don't know that I would say that Harbaugh freezes there or that Lamar doesn't have the answers in big moments. But they do have to answer this question at some point now. And that is kind of lingering over them. But I do think it is, again, at least motivation in the short term for them to kind of be a little bit more dialed in, especially late. Don't take your foot off the gas. Don't do anything differently defensively. And again, the benefit is you do not play Josh Allen every week. And I don't want to underestimate that point here. Josh was amazing. I still not sure how they got it done. Just some wild Keon Coleman plays. Like I don't know. Josh Allen is just something that you throw out. And what I saw from the Ravens, I'm not wavering on them being the best team in the league. How
do you punt the ball back though? Right? Like how do you?
Yeah, that was awful.
I think it happened once too. Maybe it was a Peyton Brady matchup, something like that. It might have been Broncos back in the day. And it was like 2 minutes left, similar situation, fourth down. You converted, the game's basically over. It's fourth. Like you put the ball in the best player, in his hands. Like you don't want to give the ball back. When Josh Allen gets a defense that was getting blasted at that point, they were like Josh Allen was kind of running with things in the second half. So I just thought that was like an egregious decision there. They should have just trusted their guy, Lamar, lived and died by that. Because then if they score quickly, like, I don't know, I mean, maybe you get the ball back of your own. Like, I don't know. That's kind of how I looked at it.
That's what I saw too. And like, I get the piling on, like the fear of being wrong in that situation, because if you turn the ball over on downs, the game is over. I mean, the game ended up being over anyway. Yeah. But at that point in time, they were on their own 40, and the Bills could essentially just run out the clock on them and kick the field goal like they ended up doing anyway, after marching down the field again. Although the Bills got pretty lucky in this game.
That's remember we had the Belichick game, right? Where like it was controversial and they went for it, and it's the same thing.
This is what I wanted to bring up. I vividly remember writing about this. It was one of the very first long form articles I ever wrote on football. I think it was in 2010. I want to say. I think it was that season, and it was a Sunday night football game, and it was Patriots Colts. And the Colts ended up winning, but it was 4th and 2 from like midfield, whatever it might be. They couldn't stop the Colts at that point in time. But if they get this first down conversion, the game is over. And they ended up going for it. I think they tried to throw to Kevin Falk out of the backfield, and he just kind of like bobbled it and put the ball on the ground. And Belichick got absolutely roasted in that spot. Turns out that it was the percentage move.
Totally right play. Should probably throw it past the chains, if anything. Going for it wasn't the problem. Play call was probably the problem. But the Ravens didn't even have that. We don't even have the ability right now to skewer them for the play calling. I don't know that we would have, because what Todd Monken was dialing up all night was working. It didn't matter what they did. It was, option RPO stuff, play action pass. Zay Flowers was running clear. Like, I was talking to Connor about it beforehand. I thought like the Ravens were such a layup. Going into the game, I thought it was a mispriced line. They were 2-point favorites in the playoffs last year. They had a better offseason. They didn't have Zay Flowers for that game last year. The way that they match up with the lack of speed in the back end for the Bills, I thought was going to be a real issue. And it was for, 55 minutes. I got +1.5. So I cashed a Ravens bet.
Oh my God.
I got +1.5 before it moved to -1.5, but hey, it happens. Get in early, people.
Do you think this Bills defense is going to be a problem, or is this a problem that they have with Lamar and Derrick Henry?
I'll let you take that one, Noonan. You're the defensive ball knower. So
yeah, they don't have enough speed in the back end. They don't have it at safety. They have one great corner in Christian Benford. They came into this game hoping that Tre'Davious White would play, and I joked with Connor, like, this is not your older uncle's Tre'Davious White. This version is awful. This version couldn't find his way onto the field last year for a bad Rams secondary that needed players. He came back to the Ravens last year, or went to the Ravens last year when they had secondary issues, couldn't find his way on the field. They really needed him to play because Maxwell Harrison, the kid they drafted in the first round, was out as well. So they didn't have either of those guys. But, I don't know how quick Harrison is to coming back to playing. He's got a leg injury. But, yeah, teams that have speed, the ability to, run the football like Lamar and Henry is, it's part of why I was very much pro Ravens versus a lot of pro Bills sentiment in the preseason. The Bills are going to win the division. They have one of the easiest schedules in the league. I think we think that the AFC East is still pretty light. I imagine that the Bills, especially after what we saw last night, they have a leg up. They're probably the 1 seed in the East or in the AFC. We're a ways out, but I feel like they're going to have the easier spot. But I think the defense is a problem. Their linebackers aren't really good in coverage either. They're going to be against good offenses. They're going to have some trouble.
I threw the link to my newsletter, which I released. I'm going to release it on Monday mornings now. It has the snap shares for running backs. It has game by one important note from each of the teams. And then it has some other stuff in it too. I just dropped the link down in the live chat if people are looking for that. And I do want to hear from you guys because we've always struggled with this Monday show to try to make it something that's a bit gripping for people. I tried it last year with Seeley doing power rankings instead of rankings for fantasy. That didn't work. So we're back to doing the rankings. That show will be live tomorrow on MMN, I believe at 10:30 a.m. Eastern time. I should probably double check that before I actually post a live show for that. But we'll be live sometime before 11 a.m. tomorrow morning on Tuesday with Ian and Jake doing the full fantasy rankings by position. So if there's any segments, anything in particular you want us to talk about, because I have a few rigged up here of what we can talk about, and we're going to get to Monday Night Football a little bit later on. But I just want to hear from you guys. If there's something we should be covering on the show, I want to hear it from you. Additionally, the Survivor Pool, it's the last day to enter. There's only 2 teams left you can take, but there's still $500,000 available to the winner. $50 to play. It's at Splash Sports under the 4-for-4 contest. Link is down in the description right now, and they're throwing some bonuses in for people. If you get into this pool, there's 10 $100 Fanatics gift certificates that you can get. There's obviously the one and done entry for the big race for the Mayo Cup, which has 1.2 million guaranteed in it for this year. And I'll be having a golf show later on today if you're missing the golf. And what's the other one? Oh yeah, free Madden games. Just giving away Madden games to people. So get in there, help us fill it out so we can run it back next year, price it more appropriately. This is what I think that happened, Connor. I think that my idea of $250 per entry was the right move, not $50.
You think? Well, what would you go? 250 at like what, 2,000 entries? Is that what it ends up being? Something like that?
Yep. That
I
fills.
like it. I mean, you saw some people just like go hard anyways. I mean, it's easier in my opinion to get more people or get a fewer people to pay more than it is to get a lot of people to pay like a little bit still cost prohibitive price, right?
Yeah, if you're here watching in the live chat, let me know who helped you in week one. Let me know who let you down the most in week one. When we come back, actually, no, not even when we come back. There's 3 points on this Bills game that I wanted to make, actually, before we get out of here. Number one, people were mad at the Bills fans for leaving Noonan. And I want to talk about this with you guys because Chicago is building a new stadium, right? Is that actually going to happen?
Probably. Arlington Heights, I think. I mean, they don't own the lands. Like, they're just renting from the city of Chicago. Like, what are we doing here?
Is it going to be downtown?
No, it'll be in the burbs. It'll be kind of by Noonan, actually, I think, right?
Yeah, it's going to be like 12 minutes for me.
Okay. So this will be a problem for the new, because I don't know where the new stadium in Buffalo is going to go. I think it's actually just right by the Ralph. I'm pretty sure. I could be wrong on that. But when you have a stadium that's not downtown, that this is inevitably going to happen because people are going to have like a 2-hour drive home.
Well,
You have a 2-hour drive home if you live in Chicago. So that's,
Soldier Field is an absolute mess logistically to get out of. They can't host any big events because of it, because you have to walk like a legitimate mile to get to like catch an Uber, because they have an Uber circle, but it takes an hour to get an Uber in there. So you either just got to walk or find, if you got lucky, you've paid for parking. It's a complete mess. Total disaster.
So if you had the downtown stadium, it would be perfect. People would stick around to the very end anyway. You can just take the subway home or something like that.
Right. I mean, that's the only option basically, right? It has to be there.
Yeah. So that sucks. I thought Kyle Williams was trying to do a bit too much defensively. We saw it on the 2-point conversion when he flipped it back into the end zone. I was like, that's a bad idea. Do not do that. Forget who it was who caught it, brought it out, and immediately took a knee to get down.
That was hilarious. I thought that was funny. I love when defensive players do that. It's just like they go rogue, right? It's just like they catch it and flip it. They just try and like make something happen. But yeah, what would have happened there? The announcer said it would have been like a 1-point play for the Bills if they had like tackled them in the end zone.
Yes. Yeah, because it would have been a 2-point play. No, it would have been. Oh, really? It would only have been a 1-point play on the 2-point conversion if that was the case.
Because it's a safety, apparently. That's what they were saying. They were saying it would be like a safety, but it would only be a 1-point play. It's never happened in NFL history per them. At least I don't remember either. So that's what they're saying. 1-point play there.
See, I like that the Ravens defense, Noonan, gets aggressive on things like that. Doing it, throwing the ball back into your own end zone, probably not the best idea.
Yeah, aggressive, sure. But yeah, you're right. Probably not the ideal way to go about it. It could be aggressive in other ways.
If you're going to get like a half glass full type thing on the Ravens, that the Bills got pretty fucking lucky to win like the tip ball that ended up in Coleman's hands. Like if that doesn't happen, the game is over.
Yeah. Even down in the punt, like a guy's like finger barely rolls over the line. That changed the dynamic for sure too.
Getting the clock at, being at 0 at the end of the half, but there was still like a split second left so they could kick the field goal. Everything kind of broke right for them. Yep.
Yeah. I don't know how you come out of that and not, if you were pro Ravens, you should still be feeling pretty good. If you're a pro Bills, nothing surprised you. You have Superman. You're going to be cheering for Superman all season. He's insane. He's a wild. I mean, it's a great offensive line. It's a fine group of offensive weapons. He's just unbelievable, and it'll be a lot of that this season for sure. They just need to be an over team, I guess, maybe against really good offenses. We need to be kind of watching that. Teams that can really score and keep up just pushes the Bills to a different level.
Yeah, and there was like also other contributing factors. Like what was it? They missed the extra point. How many interceptions did they drop, Connor? 4?
At least. Yeah, 4, 3, 4, 5. Like it was a lot.
So yeah, I wouldn't be too down on the Ravens after this. Although this has plagued them throughout the past few years. I remember there was a game, where was it? They were I forget how many they were up by. They were crushing the Dolphins. It was either week 1 or week 2 in Miami, and then Tua came out and lit them up in the second half.
Yeah, and it was week 2 in Baltimore. I remember it was 2 or 3 years ago. I think they did it again in week 2 or 3 against the Raiders in the last couple of years, against the bad Raiders team, and just kind of gave it up, took their foot off the gas, and they got to stop doing it. Stop playing with your food. Continue to do what was getting you there earlier. You hate these go into prevent, stop being really aggressive on the defensive side of the ball. Just finish teams, right? It's the NFL. Don't take your foot off the gas, especially against a conference foe.
Well, this is one thing that the Chiefs did so well during their run. I mean, I don't know if the run's over or not. We can talk about the Chiefs here after the break, but the Cardinals with Kurt Warner did this really well the year that they went to the Super Bowl, and the Chiefs kind of mastered it, Connor, you can go back and laugh at them when it doesn't work because it looks really stupid, but they just don't stop passing the entire time. They just continue. No, they're not taking bombs down the field, but every play isn't just slightly off tackle into a group of 11 people.
Yeah, I mean, you start dropping back and just passing every play. I mean, it's you see it. Some people just are able to take over the game and do that, and it's I think some people can make it work, some people can't. I feel like sometimes having some balance is good. You see, I think Lamar specifically with balance is way better than without. If he was in Josh Allen's position, I'm not sure that it would have worked entirely the same. But I mean, they put up 40 points on him anyways while playing from in front. So maybe I can't say that here, but historically in Lamar's career, he's not necessarily as good of a play from behind, win the game quarterback as he is a play from in front and just dominate them any which way.
Well, it felt like their play calling, Noonan, was exactly like the Falcons in that Super Bowl they gagged away in the second half. It was just all right, let's run out the clock and get out of here. It's that's not going to work.
Yeah, we're calling back a lot of old good Patriot memories. This is another 07, 08.
I'm so sorry. The past 20 years have been so hard for you, Noonan.
Yeah. Well, I mean, actually, when you're talking about this too, it reminded me of there was a time when that 07, 08 season where Joe Gibbs and they weren't the football team. They were Washington, came to New England, and the Pats won 63-7. And in the second half, late in the second half, they were throwing all over the place, and Gibbs was pissed about it. A lot of the national media was talking about how disrespectful it is to Gibbs and all that he's done for the league. And it's these are professional athletes. If you want to not get boat raced 63-7, man up and play some defense. That team was very uber aggressive. They felt they were us against the world and, all that stuff. But just foot on the gas all game long, play defense, stop them. We got at this point, we got another quarter and a half. We got to work on our passing game for the games that matter. So we got to be out here still trying to get it done. Just either take your guys off the field or play aggressively and do whatever you got to get done. So I don't know what happened there, but yeah, just foot on the gas, old school Pat style, baby.
They did that against Tennessee in the snow game up in New England once as well.
It 7 touchdown passes in the second quarter. Yeah, just stop me. I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah, the other team's we can't. We tried. We can't do it.
Yeah, I don't know if anyone could do it to the Ravens, to be honest.
This stuff goes in cycles. Maybe they will just end up being an over team. I can't wait to see Baltimore-Cincinnati. The game's going to be 63-60.
Look, if they're going to get anything out of D-Hop, we didn't have Isaiah Likely. You have, again, we have to remember this Ravens team didn't have Zay Flowers in the playoffs last year, and now they have Zay Flowers. They're significantly better at corner, at edge, offensive line. We want to continue to wait for Derrick Henry to fall off. He's not falling off. They got, Malachi Starks at safety. Safety was a disaster for them last year. This is a really, 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 really good Ravens team. So, yeah, it does go cyclical. I don't want to overreact to one game, but again, confirmation bias for sure. What I thought we were going to see, we saw.
Week 1 Ravens show. That's where we're at. I mean, how could we not though? I mean, there was a lot of really bad games. There was Steelers Jets ended up being one of the best games in week 1. And then obviously we get the Sunday night game. That's just incredible. Even though, I think
those are the only 2 over games. I think the Steelers Jets, the unders came in pretty massively.
Yeah. And then the Thursday and Friday game were both good too. I mean, those were pretty fun. So I don't know, a couple of good games, but yeah, the Sunday noon and 3 p.m. slates were just rough. A lot of bad football. Yeah,
but it was nice to have football back.
Oh, totally. Yeah, it was great to have football. A lot of good unders were hidden. The Lions looked awful, which was great to see. I was very much anti-Lions coming into the year. And bet on Amon Ra under this week. And like, I wanted some golf unders too, but it was all good. It was good to see that Ben Johnson matters. It makes me excited to see the Bears tonight because we'll see what happens there. I think it should be a fun game.
This is how poorly my indicative, just like this is the prime example of how bad my underdog week was, just being like, all right, because Hopkins ends up getting the 1.5. And I was trying to remember because I had Ty Johnson over 6.5 yards. That was the only part of my Sunday Night Football play that lost. That ended up coming in on the under. I was like, how the hell did that happen? They had to pass the entire time. Yeah, they have James Cook out there who ended up with over 50 yards receiving, but like Ty Johnson, someone they're going to specifically design routes for Noonan. And then I was watching it back this morning. I was like, oh yeah, they threw him that swing pass on like the first drive of the game. That was actually a rush. I was like, of course that happened.
Yeah, we had someone in our Discord who was trying to make the case for, I think it was like over 1.5 receptions was like plus 160. And I thought it was not a bad look because I thought he were going to get the game script. And then I saw that one happen and I was like, oh, that's dead. Like you needed that one to be a actual reception and not a rush. But yeah, that was probably a pretty good read though. That was definitely the game script for it.
Yeah, it was a terrible read. Lost money.
Well, you have good reads and lose money. We do it all the time.
Well, I just talked about I talked about my bad read, the Jaden read. Just it was a $1,500 swing for me. Actually, it was like a $3,000 swing for me because it turned into a loss instead of a win. So bad news on that front. But I got some good news coming up right after this. We're going to be talking about what was real from week 1 and what was fake. We're going to try to guess. We want to hear from you. Stay tuned. For over a century, Johnnie Walker has shared its bold spirit with the game of golf. Now, crafted with Devereux Go, Johnnie Walker introduces the Johnnie Walker Blue Label-inspired Sunday Golf Bag, elevating the game with sleek design, Blue Label hues, and refined gold accents. Celebrate your hole-in-one with a premium Sunday bag crafted by Devereux Golf. Submit proof of your achievement to johnniewalker.com/blue-in-1. Please drink responsibly. This episode is sponsored by BetterHelp. Give online therapy a try at betterhelp.com/PatMayo and get on your way to being your best self. Sometimes we turn to some funny places for support, but not everyone's a therapist. Not everyone is the one. Find your right match with BetterHelp. What you need to do is actually talk to a quality therapist. And BetterHelp therapists work according to a strict code of conduct and are fully licensed in the United States. It's also completely online. You can pause your subscription whenever you need to and switch therapists anytime at no extra cost. As the largest online therapy provider in the world, BetterHelp can provide access to mental health professionals with a diverse variety of expertise. Find the one with BetterHelp. Our listeners get 10% off their first month at betterhelp.com/PatMayo. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/PatMayo. Coming back, smash the like on the Pat Mayo Experience. We're going to be hanging here every single Monday morning at 10:30 a.m. Eastern Time. And if you got segment ideas, hit me up. I got a lot of shows. I can't come up with segment ideas for them all. I need your help on that front. If you need some help with your props, go to 4for4.com/Mayo. Get on SharpStack. Noonan, if I had just listened to SharpStack and not parlayed them all together and just played them as individuals, I would have hit at a 72% rate in week 1. But instead, I just lost because, I didn't put the right combinations together. Stupid. I feel like we did a show where we talked about this, and then I just ignored all that information and lost all my money.
1 week. It didn't even take 1 week, Pat. Yeah, I got to go back to the well too, because, Connor and I were talking about this and how to really approach it. And sometimes the books themselves force you into unit sizing because not all these books are generous enough with allowing us to bet what we would like. So they kind of dictate unit sizing. But I was talking about trying to, how do I want to handle all the things that I typically want to bet in a week that I'm originating research wise and all the plays that I'm doing versus all this new stuff that is just, I think EV. How do I micromanage all of that? So I kind of limped in with some of that stuff this week. I actually bet a bunch, but I bet a lot smaller and I had a great week doing it. So I got to figure out, I got to push these limits as much as I can on SharpStack side, allow that to supplement the rest of the stuff that I'm doing. But I might have to, again, overreact. You have that one good week and you're like, yeah,
can't lose.
I'm gonna up my unit size, but that's what we're going to do here on the SharpStack side. I'm going to keep my normal stuff as is. I'm going to up my unit size a little bit on the SharpStack side when I can.
All right. Note for me, bet smaller Underline. I'll see if I can remember it. I always forget. Jared knows. I forget to look at my notes after every show anyway. So he has to like text them to me afterwards in a screenshot. So
Sounds like we did an hour and a half on, making sure you're profitable, getting the best of the number, don't parlay, and here you are, week one.
I am as susceptible as anyone else to falling into these traps.
Parlay, bro.
You're not infallible. I mean, I just pulled it up right now and just blasted a Romo Dunze 3.5 receptions at -115. It's like -150 rest of the market. So I just blasted a random one as we're speaking here. I popped it up. And I'm like, oh, that looks like a great bet. And so here we are. And I'm living.
Well, we'll get to those later. In the live chat right now, if you're hanging around, give me your first touchdown bets for Monday Night Football. We'll be covering Monday Night Football coming up a little bit later on. If people are watching after the fact, I'll have the time codes in there, but I would put them in now, but I didn't know when the times are. We're doing this live. Fool's Gold from week one. I want to say the Jags offense is absolute fool's gold. I went back and I watched every pass that Trevor Lawrence threw. I don't know if he threw a pass more than 20 yards down the field outside of the 2-minute drill that went to Diami Brown as they were trying to drive for a field goal. Now, maybe they just didn't have to. Granted, it was against a terrible defense. ETN took over that game in the second half, but although they waxed the Panthers, I felt like that was more the Panthers being terrible than the Jags actually being good.
This is a struggle, right? Week one in general. Like, what is small sample size noise and what isn't? What is any signal moving forward? And then, like, how much of it is actually on the defensive side, too? How much is the defense dictating poor performance, right? Like, I want to give kudos to the Browns defense for holding Burrow. They played a really good man, then a good, we got a lot of pressure. But you got to take advantage of the Panthers game. Like you Panthers at home, who have a really poor secondary, no pass rush to speak of.
No run defense.
No run. I mean, I think the run defense is going to be improved, but it's still one of the worst in the league. I don't know. I don't feel great about it. They get the Bengals here in week two. Again, the pretty soft landing spot for your opposing defenses. So I don't know. I want it to be better, but how do you not take advantage of that opportunity? It's a little bit worrisome for me. So, yeah, I'm with you. I share concern.
And not getting Brian Thomas Jr. involved at all. Travis Hunter was somewhat involved. I thought he looked fine, for what he was asked to do. I thought it was okay. The running game probably was the best part of their game, which is sad to say. I mean, that's like not where you wanted to be, especially for a passing game that I thought could have, taken a massive step forward in such a good matchup here. So, yeah, I'm not ready to jump ship yet, but that was not a very encouraging week one.
Yeah, when you can it's funny that you went 26-10, and the 10 was a pretty garbage 10 with that Chuba Hubbard touchdown at the end that came off the heels of a Bryce Young pick six that got overturned. Bryce Young looked horrible. Like I railed against Bryce Young last year and how bad he was. He got benched. I took a victory lap, and then he came back and made me look absolutely stupid. So then I picked Carolina to win this division. Now I'm looking stupid. So Bryce Young, just I can't get it right ever.
Pat, did you see the video? It was like during the game of Bryce Young watching like the mini games on the screen. It's like the helmet game, where they're like got the 3 helmets and like he's like playing the game along with them while he's about to go take the field on offense, and they're getting absolutely blasted right now. Like it's I don't know.
You got to find wins anywhere you can. You wanted to win the game.
iPad kid, just it's crazy.
Lions offense, this bad, or are you giving them a pass?
Man, Packers defense is really good. So
is it like is the Packers defense like a top 5 unit?
It's not. So the team is scoring 33.5 points a game last year, whatever. Like, so yeah, there's no defense that's that good. Look, we're gonna find out a little bit more tonight again too, right? Is it Ben Johnson? How good is he? How special is he? So they didn't play as quick. It's cause for concern.
Yeah, they ran way more, which is not, and it was like so vanilla. Like it just felt very like, we talked about it before. They said before the season, they're like, we're going to go out there and just let our receivers win. We're going to go out there and just let them do whatever. And turns out they didn't win that much. They didn't win that often. Jared Goff, when he hasn't been with Sean McVay or Ben Johnson, has been a total cupcake. Turns out that's not a good start. Again, they're going to be better than what they showed before for sure. But I'm worried that their ceiling is not anywhere near what it used to be.
Do you like the Bears against them in Detroit next week? Because that line's at 5 as the open.
Yeah.
I feel like if Chicago can come out Monday night, and I don't want to say like steamroll the Vikings, but if they can put up a good effort, especially offensively against the Vikings, get 24 plus points in that game, and it looks good with Ben Johnson and Caleb Williams and everything is rolling. I don't know how much that line moves, but it feels like they'll be able to post points on the Lions, no problem.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, 3.5, 4. I don't think that'd be that crazy if the Bears come out here and have a really good performance.
Yeah, Terry and Arnold probably out for the Lions as well. That matters at the perimeter. They don't have a great cornerback group, and he's the best, and he looks like he'll be out for sure. So that's an injury that matters for sure.
Well, you gave me that tackle prop parlay, which was cruising until that dude on the Giants got hurt.
Yeah, he got hurt 11 plays in. He was going to have a monster day too. Yeah,
he already had 2.
Yeah, no, and he's 5.5. Yeah, there's the ones that I didn't play, some one-offs. My non-official tackles went 7 and 3. So it was a pretty good tackle day overall to get started. But yeah, we're gonna get there. It'll be probably the lowest volume of the week. I get a little bit of cold feet after feeling pretty confident on the Thursday night game about what was going to happen with Kenneth Murray and his playing time, and he was out there in every play. Still almost went under, which is kind of wild. Which is part of was handicap as well. It was like, hey, even if Kenneth Murray's out there all the time, he sucks. And he still almost came through for us, even though he played literally every snap against the most run heavy team in the league. So we'll get our Kenneth Murray money back at some point.
I love to hear that you're joining the under dark side. This is how it starts, Noonan, is you start rooting against players that you think are just complete trash. I mean, they burn you here, but it's it's coming. I swear it's coming.
It's coming. Yeah. No, on the tackle side, I'm okay. I'm open to unders. If the model's popping an under, we'll chase the under for sure. Yeah.
Hey, you gave me that Mac Wilson over. That was a winner. It was a quick winner.
Quick winner. Yeah. He opened one book at 4.5 early in the week. And, once, some other people started to play that, we had to wait for 5.5 to come for, other books widely available. Still was kind of a layup of a line. So yeah, Mac Wilson will be a good look too. So that's it. They still, books last year, week 2 was really good. Books overreact to the 1 week. They're rolling off of, preseason or last year's average. You get one guy with a bad down week and all of a sudden his line is pretty soft for week 2 and week 3. So yeah, we're going to take advantage of that here pretty quickly.
Indy's offense being awesome, Connor, or Miami following Noonan's trend of just being apparently everyone knew Miami was the worst team in the league besides me, but here I am.
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't fully on board that train either. I'm like a notorious TuaNon member, but at this point, I mean, this Miami defense is really, really, really bad. So like, I think that the Colts offense can be solid. Like if Daniel Jones can execute what Shane Steichen wants, if Tyler Warren can be another good asset for him, Jonathan Taylor's playing well, like, yeah, they'll be a solid offense. I don't know if they're going to be dropping 30 plus a game every game, but I think my biggest takeaway is the Miami defense really sucks, honestly. It was more of that, in my opinion, than the Colts offense being awesome.
It wasn't even so much that, yes, the Miami defense sucked, Noonan, but they also took wildly undisciplined penalties the entire game, too, to extend these drives.
Yeah, I mean, they also, benefited from, turnovers and some bad play from Tua, which, really just they dominated time of possession. They ran 70 plays. They had the ball for almost 39 minutes. You only had time of possession for the Dolphins at 21 minutes. That wasn't good. Look, they have a really interesting pass rush, and it might end up being really good. They're almost like 75% of the Giants, right? Where the Giants have some questions and concerns. The pass rush, though, was elite. The Dolphins pass rush is really strong. It is a XFL secondary, and you just cannot compete in this day and age with the way teams want to run the football. Even with the Daniel Jones, Shane Steichen combination, they're going to find ways to win and get some of these guys in, really bad matchups. They're slow in the back half. Like, look, I know everyone loves Minka, and he's a name that people know, and he's had some great games. Minka is also on the wrong side of it. So when you're like, hey, we got Minka back in the back end, like that ain't it. And your corners are bad. So you better get home with your front 7 with 4. Actually, you better get home with 4. Otherwise, we're going to see a lot of this from the Dolphins this season. So it's bad. They could be an over team if Tua wakes up, if Connor's boy can get himself together, but it wasn't happening against a bad Colts defense as well. So not a great start for Miami.
It's bad when the headlines are like key defensive players for Miami exit, and that key player is Storm Duck. That's like that's your key defensive player that exits.
Not great.
So the back end of the defense is bad, and they can't block. And it seems like no one wants to try on offense.
Yeah,
Not great.
It's not
Tyreek
great.
already crashing out on the sideline. You see him start, yelling. I mean, this is like Antonio Brown 2.0 just brewing right now.
Oh yeah, I mean,
Jared,
I don't think it's nothing. They took the C away, and that's like when you're kind of just a captain. It feels like you're a teacher. Once you get past the spot where like they can't fight, it's harder for them to fire you. You're just in cruise control. You got your gig. Once you're kind of a captain in the league or on the same team, they take away your C. It's not nothing. Like I don't think that the Tyreek stuff is nothing. Like there's some problems brewing here.
No, there's more. I just got an email from 4 for 4 about the survivor pool. They're really trying to get people to get in here. If you enter 2 or more entries before 8 p.m. Eastern time tonight, you take your pick of 1, a free 4 for 4 DFS subscription. That sounds pretty good. $150 off 4 for 4 pick subscription, or $350 off the 4 for 4 Sharp Stack subscription. I would recommend doing that. Go spend your $100, get the 2 entries into the survivor pool, whether you care or not, because you're going to want Sharp Stack. You get $350 off. You'll still get the free week. And if you use code Mayo, you get 25% off anyway. That sounds like a big win.
It's a smash.
Yeah. That's what you want to do. So, yeah. Jared, you want to say?
Just curious, looking at the Patriots-Dolphins line, it's Dolphins -1.5.
Yeah, because the Patriots suck.
But do they suck as much as the Dolphins?
Maybe not. I mean, I if you had to rate them next to each other right now, I would say that the Patriots are better than the Dolphins. Noonan, this is your team, the Pats. They're awful. Like, truly bad.
They're not.
Oh, yeah, they're great. Yeah.
No. I'm not making the case. No. Like I didn't pick him to make the playoffs. I was Connor's. Anytime he gets, he's happy to take advantage of this. They didn't have Christian Gonzalez. He matters. He's a problem. They got some young guys in the back half in the secondary. Wasn't great. It's a problem. I don't love that because like Miami at this time of year in September, especially with the way that they like have these sidelines in the shadows, like New England, even with really good Patriots teams outside of maybe that again, the 07, shout out to the 07, 08 Pats shout out to Randy. We get a lot of, good Pat stuff. Miami early in the season for New England has been a disaster, even when they've been the better football team. It's just going to be like 85 and humid. It's really nowhere. It's not like that really anywhere else in the country right now. So it's a tough spot. I'd like to get that Miami game late in the season, but look, they got to protect Drake May a little bit better, and we need Christian Gonzalez back and healthy.
Justin in the chat says he has 80-1 on Cole Kmet for first touchdown tonight. I would like to know what book that's at. I'm seeing like 33-1.
Not a big first touchdown guy, but 80 is
that's
a price.
Yeah, if it's 80-1, I am in on that. That's fine.
Yeah.
I don't mind that at all. I mean, that's like, I think they're going to have a lot of 2 tight end sets early. Like that can make a lot of sense because then it's either 2 tight end sets or they got Olamide Zaccheaus out there, running a ton of routes, which I don't think that they seem to like him, but you probably like Cole Kmet just as much, if not more.
I mean, I have 2 bets in on the Monday Night Football game. We'll get to those in a sec, but I'll spoil those. I'll spoil those 2 before we try to come up with some other ones. I have Zaccheaus first touchdown, 33-1. Zaccheaus anytime touchdown, 8-1. Dude loves being the first touchdown scorer.
Yeah, I like him. I don't think he's bad. Yeah, he's 8-1 anytime. You said
8-1 anytime. Yeah. I think it was 8-1.
Yeah,
I should probably double check that.
Yeah, it's a good price.
Any other fool's gold type things that you guys are seeing here, either too good or too bad?
I mean, I'm not buying the Jets offense long term. They did look really good. I'm just not buying it for like a long term. Also, it was like the most predictable Justin Fields blowing the game, at the end there, not being able to drive down and kick a field goal. It was, almost threw a pick the play before the Garrett Wilson thing. Could have ran for the first down probably, and then threw it to Garrett Wilson just to get absolutely lit up by Jalen Ramsey. So I think they're going to be better than I probably initially thought, but I'm still not buying that they're going to be, getting scoring 30 plus a game.
Yeah, probably also selling a little bit on the other side of the game too is that Aaron Rodgers in this offense is going to be like an electric passing unit and big plays all over the place. pretty feels like an outlier. It was just a wild game. That game took a bunch of under money yesterday in the morning. It was like definitely trending down and down and down. And again, it's outside of the Sunday night game. It's the only game that goes over. That was a great week for the unders. But yeah, that feels fake to me.
What did it close at? For like 40?
No, it was like
37 and a half, wasn't it?
37 and a
my
half.
God.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it collapsed.
Yeah, we were like, because that was the main screen game that we had on because Cuss was watching the game with us, and it turned out to be the best game by far to watch.
Oh, yeah.
And I looked at it at halftime. I was like, I think they're only like a point away from the over here. This is nuts. And all the other games just sucked.
Yeah, it was rough. Yes,
Justin said he was looking at the wrong thing, by the way. It was not 80-1. It was 80-1 for 2 touchdowns.
Okay. All right.
Yeah,
Less good, Justin. I'm sorry.
Yeah, not quite there, I don't think.
And Zacchaeus was 7-1. I just called in a friend at Cool Bets under the PME exclusive tab. If you're going to play Cool Bet, that should get boosted up to like 8 or 9-1 for Zacchaeus anytime. Hopefully he plays and isn't just sitting on the sidelines.
No, he'll play. I think he'll play.
I think he'll play over Luther Burden. I don't think Burden's going to play much at all, to be honest.
So
At least
Burden unders. We'll
smell
bank
Burden under
that
coming.
for a little bit later on.
It hasn't been posted. That's Burden unders and then Kyle Monungai. I want Kyle Monungai anytime touchdown. There you go. There's a touchdown bet. I like that a lot.
I mean, you don't think they're just going to like? I get that Roshan's not playing. I mean, probably not playing in this game. But
Right.
you really think the backup running back is just going to get scored? It's going to score touchdowns. They're not going to use DeAndre Swift.
I got a hot take here. I think that Monungai will get 6 to 10 carries in week 1.
So like a lesser Trey Benson. Well, it was kind of like what DJ Giddens did, although I guess that was
all garbage.
It was a product of being up by 1 billion points in that game. But either way, what was I going to go to? I had Denver's offense looked really, really bad. Is Denver's offense really bad? Like, can they just shake it off, go back a week, and try to figure some stuff out? Or is Tennessee's defense sneaky good?
I'm going to go with Denver's offense is pretty good, and they're going to figure it out eventually. They were able to get some pressure, which was weird. They have a pretty below average pressure unit. The corners aren't particularly strong. L'Jarius Sneed got the bag and just kind of mailing it in a little bit. And he's been dinged up a little bit. He didn't play much, not a full allotment of snaps there. But yeah, I'm not really buying the Titans defense being a unit that we need to be scared of. I think they just kind of stubbed their toe. They figured it out. Bo Nix didn't look great early last season until, kind of got his legs under him. So I think they're going to be okay. The defense is a problem, and it's going to be a really good football team.
Connor, I cashed in the $250 DraftKings contest with Bo Nix as my quarterback.
Oh, wow.
How'd you manage to do that?
Who did I have? I had Puka. I had Cortland Sutton to go with Bo Nix. That was always helpful. And just everyone on my team kind of scored like 16 points, which was good enough in week 1. No one scored points.
Yeah, that gets you there. It is weird because I felt like all my fantasy teams did really bad, and I play in too many leagues, so I don't check until Sunday night usually, or Monday even sometimes. And then I look and I'm like, I'm kind of live to win all these because no one scored heading into Sunday Night Football. No one scored more than 25 PPR points.
How worried are you about the Texans offense, specifically Nico Collins? Because I know that everyone was over 5.5. Like, hey, he's the only guy who's there. This is going to be a smash. And all the Rams did was, hey, let's just take out Nico Collins and see what happens.
There's 2 teams that I think were really interesting with the whole offensive line, shifting around, new schemes, new OC. It's the Texans and it's the Seahawks. Their O-line still suck. They're the Texans O-line still blows. And so you can add whoever you want out there. They weren't moving Nico around as much as I thought. They weren't really getting anything going. But that being said, I think this was just the worst case scenario matchup for them. We kind of knew, at least I had a good feeling that it was not going to go all that well for them on the ground, not going to go that well for them in the air. I think Christian Kirk loss kind of mattered a little bit, as a guy who could maybe separate in kind of the short middle area of the field a little bit more for them. So I'm not ready to throw in the towel yet, but yeah, not a good first sign, I think, for Nick Caley and this new offensive line.
Yeah, they had some injuries too. Cam Robinson was out for a little bit. Jake Andrews, their center, is down. Again, a unit that we didn't expect to be very strong. There wasn't continuity. Like Connor said, they were playing musical chairs a little bit. Positionally, that Rams front is really strong. So it was a tough spot. Look, I don't know how we take advantage of it. And this might be, a little prisoner of the moment, hot takey. I'm not a huge CJ Stroud guy. We have a pretty large sample now of CJ Stroud on short and intermediate routes being slightly below average. And he's made his hay on deep balls. And that's fine. It's part of the game, right? You have Nico Collins and you've had Tank Dell, and you can go ahead and make splash plays deep down the field. It's part of it. But he doesn't win. He doesn't hit enough singles and doubles. And if they don't have the big plays to Nico, where you're getting these multiple 25, 30-yard chunk gains, then they're kind of a pedestrian offense. They don't have a great, running game. Nick Chubb, at this point, sorry, just probably ain't it. It was a great run. That knee injury, I don't know, all four, however many, he busted all the ligaments in the knee. It was not great. And then a bad offensive line. So he needs to kind of win. And he doesn't, I think, have enough singles and doubles in him. And, you get these matchups against really good teams at times. And I don't know, I think he's a little overrated. And I don't think he's necessarily a talent elevator unless they're hitting homers.
I would be worried about the Seahawks offenses, like, as you mentioned, Connor, a little bit more. Just somehow Darnold only took 1 sack in that game. Like, credit to him for scrambling out of it, but he did not have time to set and throw at all. And this offense is going to look disjointed because of it. And I still can't figure out why there was a split between Charbonnet and Walker in that backfield. And for whatever reason, Walker ended up becoming the receiving back, although Charbonnet is the superior receiving back. Like, nothing Seattle did made any sense to me. And they were winning that game 10-7 for the longest time. Although I looked at the time of possession at one point. It was 35 minutes for San Francisco and 16 for Seattle.
Yeah, it's a really weird game to look at, because I don't really blame the San Francisco offense for not doing all that well when you lose Kittle, when you don't have Ayuk, when you have Jennings coming back from a holdout.
And then then going down in that game too.
Yeah, then going down. And the Seahawks defense is good. There's no shame there. They're a really good unit. So that's a really tough win for the Niners. But on the other side of the ball, and that's where there's more takeaways, in my opinion. I think the Niners defense with Robert Saleh is probably a pretty strong unit. Also, the Seahawks, a lot of concerns up front. Cooper Kupp still can't separate. Kenneth Walker, I it's a very clear timeshare. They were kind of like rotating drives in the beginning. Very strange. I don't know. We'll see what happens. It's kind of a backfield to avoid for me in betting fantasy DFS until there's more clear delineation, I think.
Well, yeah, the rotation of drives, I think, kind of skews the actual touch things that we saw, because there was a couple Kenneth Walker's were 3 and outs, and then there were a long touchdown drive with Charbonnet, a long field goal drive with Charbonnet. So, I mean, it's obviously more of a share than people thought maybe a month ago, but I think it maybe was skewed a little bit just based off of how that's going to shake out when you're actually rotating drives.
One thing I was not surprised about was the Falcons continuing to be the Falcons.
Yeah. Yeah, they were a fascinating team. That was a huge, I think, an impactful week 1 loss for them. Again, being, I think, actually competitive in that division. If there was going to be a chance, you got to steal that one at home against, the Bucks without Tristan Wirfs and, Chris Godwin. A lot of questions at the time. So, yeah, just I thought that game was going to be a little bit more exciting back and forth. And, both quarterbacks kind of stubbed their toe a little bit. But, yeah, kind of a clutch play by Baker late, and then, pretty bad. Again, another place where kicking was a problem and mattered a lot.
The Tampa Bay success rate was super bad. Their play-to-play basis was awful. I mean, I don't really know how they won that game, to be honest. I guess that's another fraudulent thing. I was pretty worried about that team throughout the game. Falcons just didn't capitalize when it mattered. I thought Penix is I don't know. The more I watch him, just he's fun. He just chucks the ball. He's willing to kind of put stuff into tight areas. He's a fun quarterback to watch. I don't know if he's good, but he's fun, which I, obviously very much appreciate.
Yeah, to watch him in week 1 was like to watch shitty Lamar.
Yeah.
Like when Lamar does the spin move, and then the field opens up for him. He's either looking down and he has a 50-yard strike to someone, or he's just going to take off for 30 yards. Penix does the same thing, but he doesn't really know what he's doing. He gets all jittery, and when I could see him getting hurt in the next 3 weeks. He dives at everything. And it's the same thing that Trevor Lawrence does. Justin Herbert does it too. That I spoke last week on the DFS show that Jalen Hurts is the best slider of any quarterback. He slides and no one touches him. He's just down. These other guys slide into people at full speed, and that's how you get hurt.
Well, Penix has been, just a picture of health throughout his entire collegiate career. So, I don't know why we would think he'd get hurt now. But yeah, that was the struggle actually handicapping the Falcons coming into the season, was that, they probably have a better backup than most teams, right? Kirk's still on the roster. feeling great about it. There's a reason they made the change. But Penix getting through the finish line with, a full season of games played is going to be a challenge, especially like you said, when he's, just kind of offering up his body unnecessarily at times.
This might be covering up Tampa Bay as well, because you hit on it, Connor. Tampa Bay's offense outside of 2 drives, both Egbuka touchdown drives, was shitty, like really bad.
Really bad, really bad. I think that another takeaway, though, would be like Bucky Irving's usage was really strong. No Rashad White. Bucky Irving played in some 2-minute drills. So, like, his total box score is not good, in terms of, like, output, but he played a lot. I think the team will be better. Again, they're missing Tristan Wirfs. Like, Evans is kind of older. Igbuka's there. But, like, I think there are better days ahead, but they did not look good in the interim. I'm not going to lie. They could easily lose to could have lost to a lot of teams this week, including the Falcons.
Final team I do want to talk about, because Brock Bowers, not sure if he's going to play this week or not against the Chargers on Monday Night Football, but he'll have the extra day. Is that I kind of like the Raiders to beat the Chargers this week, Noonan. Don't tell Jeff.
Oof. They were good.
Chargers are riding, like, I don't want to say the Chargers are fool's gold, but I don't think they're as good as they maybe looked in Brazil.
That's fair. They've always played the Chiefs pretty tight. They obviously know each other and they're familiar. And it's the same with the Raiders. Obviously, another divisional matchup for the Chargers. I was worried about it. I told Connor on our preview show on Sunday morning briefly that I was worried about the setup for the Pats. I thought that the Raiders set up pretty well. I have a little bit more excitement for the Patriots than I've had in the last few years with, Vrabel and Drake May. So I didn't want to, back the Raiders, but I thought they were the right side for sure. I know they took some sharp money coming into Sunday. It was a good spot. I mean, Geno played really well. I mean, they had 6.3 yards per play. Geno chucked it for, 9.8 yards per attempt. Took advantage of a questionable and injured secondary for the Patriots. Patriots got some pressure, but yeah, I mean, the Raiders didn't even get a lot from Genty. I mean, they got
nothing. They got
2.3 yards per carry. Yeah, I mean, and some of that was Geno scrambling. So yeah, I mean, I think the Raiders are kind of a sneaky team. They could definitely beat some teams that they're better in, and I think are not as good as the Chargers would probably be one of those teams. I think we kind of agree that the Chargers are probably a better team, but probably not a bad spot on Monday night. You're right. What is it? 3.5?
Yeah, there's some 3.5s out there.
Yeah, it's probably the right side.
Might just have to go money line again. I'll just money line Vegas the entire year.
There wasn't anything super crazy either. They were 39% on third down, 5 of 13. So it's not like there was a crazy amount of unsustainable efficiency that happened that led to it too. They didn't run the ball. They were pretty bad on third downs, and they really kind of dominated and controlled that game.
Well, it felt like the Patriots sold out to stop Genty, and then they were like, oh yeah, we don't have Christian Gonzalez, therefore we have no one to cover anyone.
It's kind of how it worked.
Yeah. Connor, I don't want to ask Noonan this because he's going to say 10 out of 10.
Right.
Rate Mike Vrabel as a coach out of 10, because I have an answer to this.
I probably hover in the 6.5 to 7 range. I think he's a good coach.
I don't. I think he's a
don't think he's a good coach?
Pure 5 out of 10. I think he's a shittier version of Mike Tomlin. I think he's a motivator. I think his tactics are really bad. He has no clock management skills to speak of, and he seems to hire really shitty coordinators. The only time we've ever seen Vrabel be good is when he had Arthur Smith.
I was going to say, did Arthur Smith make Mike Vrabel? Is that the new spin zone here?
This is a
I
take.
love that. That's great.
But tell me the season, especially offensively, Noonan, that Mike Vrabel's been successful, that Arthur Smith wasn't involved or didn't have Derrick Henry in the. It's very easy to look good when you're what we're gonna do? We're gonna pound the ball, and you get to pound it with Derrick Henry. Turns out not everyone's Derrick Henry.
That's fair. I mean, so now what we're doing here is we're holding coaches accountable for having good players, right?
Well, I'm saying that can he do it without the best running back of the past 5 to 10 years? Turns out no is the answer.
Yeah. I mean, we're going to find out. I think he's a good head coach. I think being a motivator he's a defensive player. He's a defensive minded head coach. That's his thing, right? So he's got to outsource the offense. And the Todd Downing era wasn't as good as the Arthur Smith era. We'll see what happens here. I feel like Josh McDaniels is a guy that can, is just one of these guys who's not a great head coach, but has been a pretty good coordinator.
I'll throw this out here too.
One game.
Has Josh McDaniels been a good coordinator when Tom Brady hasn't been his quarterback?
It's very, I guess, here we are. Tom Brady would tell you that Josh McDaniels, that they had worse teams when he didn't have Josh McDaniels as his play caller. So we'll find out. We're chasing our tail here.
All right. When we come back, we're going to do some fantasy pickups, Monday Night Football bets, and we'll let you get out of here. Please smash the like and stay tuned. Here's a stat that stops people in their tracks. Nearly half of American adults say they would suffer financial hardship within 6 months if they lost their primary income earner. If that stat hits close to home, you're not alone, and you're not out of options. With Policy Genius, you can find life insurance policies starting at just $276 a year for $1 million in coverage. It's an easy way to protect the people you love and feel good about the future. Policy Genius makes it easy on you by helping you compare your options by getting quotes from America's top insurers in just a few clicks to find your lowest price. And you can talk to a team of licensed agents who can walk you through the entire process step by step. So, secure your family's future with Policy Genius. Head to policygenius.com/Mayo to compare free life insurance quotes from top companies and see how much you can save. That's policygenius.com/Mayo. Now that I'm old, I've had to come to the fact that I just don't bounce back the way that I used to. I don't wake up in the morning feeling normal. And now that football season has started, that is absolutely unacceptable. I got work to do in the morning, and I got kids that are waking up. It's no good. But that isn't a problem anymore because I found ZBiotics Pre-Alcohol. The ZBiotics Pre-Alcohol probiotic drink is the world's first genetically engineered probiotic, invented by PhD scientists to tackle the rough mornings after drinking. Here's how it works. When you drink, alcohol gets converted into a toxic byproduct in the gut. It's a buildup of this byproduct, not dehydration, that's to blame for the rough days after drinking. Pre-alcohol produces an enzyme to break this byproduct down. Just remember to make pre-alcohol the first drink of your night. Drink responsibly, and you'll feel the best tomorrow. Go to zbiotics.com/PatMayo to learn more and get 15% off your first order when you use PatMayo at checkout. ZBiotics is backed with a 100% money-back guarantee, so if you're unsatisfied for any reason, they'll refund you your money, no questions asked. Remember to head to zbiotics.com/PatMayo and use the code PatMayo at checkout for 15% off. Some waiver wire pickups. I know at 4for4.com/Mayo to get yourself that 25% off, Noonan. John's going to have some guys up there, right?
Yeah. Season-long stuff, a lot of, Monday kind of unpacking what happened. But yeah, you can get waiver wire. We do everything over 4for4. Yeah, promo code Mayo. Take advantage.
Yeah, go get it. Or just sign up to get 2 entries into the survivor pool for tonight. You just get it for free. Get the DFS package for free, which gets you the fantasy football stuff for free too. So 4for4/Mayo, you can do that. You get 25% off anyway. And then if you just play 2 entries, you get the free package over at 4for4. So I want to run some of these names by you, Connor. I know you're big Mr. Fantasy. You're playing in so many leagues you can't even look at them anymore. That's how many you're in. Would you rather pick up, and I know that some deeper leagues aren't going to have all these guys available, but if it was between Hollywood Brown, Quentin Johnson, and Keenan Allen, which one of those 3 would you rather have?
Oh, man. I'm going to go Hollywood, I guess, for the short term. Like, the Chiefs really have nothing in terms of like intermediate guys that can win. It was Rashee Rice, so he's out obviously 6 weeks. It was Xavier Worthy, I think, playing some of the Rashee Rice role. Travis Kelce is, I think his head's in another place at this point. He's just kind of old. He's got the Rob Gronkowski late career treatment, I think, for the most part, in terms of like target share, getting open and like the wiggle he used to have. So now we're at like, who else? Hollywood Brown. I was not a believer early. It looked really bad. It was really inefficient, like honestly, the first half. Then he kind of settled in a little bit. He kind of was like, okay, I can, sit on these curls between zones and just kind of like get open in like the 7 to 10 yard space. If you can do that and run some deeper routes, like Hollywood Brown's a viable like wide receiver 3-ish starter on most fantasy teams for a couple weeks. I do like Keenan Allen as well. Not a big QJ guy, can't lie. I mean,
I was dying for him to say QJ. Yeah. I was dying for him to say QJ and have to cape up for him. That would have been amazing.
It would be Quentin Johnson for me. I think it's easy.
Okay.
Me
too.
Weirdly enough, and maybe Hollywood settles into this role, but I think if anyone's going to play that Rashee Rice, unless they go trade for someone or pick someone up, whatever it might be, I thought Tyquan Thornton was the more dynamic receiver in that game. He just couldn't convert for the Chiefs.
Yeah, Tyquan Thornton, former rest in peace. Former Patriot didn't get it done. Yeah, QJ's, I don't know, guys get better. First round, talent, big body receiver, kind of fits with what they need. Touchdowns obviously can skew our opinion of how good players really are.
But even when he couldn't catch, he could score them.
I agree. Yeah, just Connor's a hater, but I think he's made a good amount of money.
This guy sucks. What are
QJ unders?
This guy is terrible. I mean, I know he played really well, but like we have like a 2+ year sample size of him just being like a big dope who just drops the ball, and then if you get in his hands, he's a wagon once he gets going. But I mean, it doesn't matter if you can't get to the ball.
I feel like he's always open, and he's wildly open downfield at all times. They're like, oh, this guy can't catch. Let's not cover him. And then he catches one out of the 3 that are thrown to him. It's a touchdown. It's great. Maybe in the offseason, he went to that same guy that Hot Hands from Little Giants went to, and now he has Stickum on his hands.
It works. It worked for D-Hop last night, too.
Would you? I mean, D-Hop's, I don't know how that ended up in his hand, how that stayed there.
Yeah,
it seems impossible. Like physics feels like that shouldn't be able to happen. Big hands, I guess.
Yeah, these gloves though nowadays. The
gloves,
dude. I've retired a little bit. I'm a little bit older now, but I used to play in this flag football league on Saturday mornings, and so listen, I'll ride you through this. So yeah, at the time I was probably still I was still mid-30s, so I didn't have it. And we get these teams all of a sudden. These kids are like 25 years old. They've been playing ball together. Like they just got off of like the college campus playing together in these rec leagues and just absolutely whoop us. But I was the belle of the ball on the disjointed team, right? The guys that just signed up that didn't have a team. So I got fed, and I got those Stickum gloves. And I will tell you, I'm catching balls I had no shot of catching, because these things, once you get it, like it hits it, it's really hard for you to drop it. It's insane how good these gloves are nowadays. So if I can fill up the stat sheet with some Stickum gloves, D-Hop can still get it done too.
All right. Would you put Kayshon Boutte above any of those guys, Ryan?
Look, he had a good camp. They liked him coming in. I mean, this is a guy that was a baller at LSU with some dogs on his roster. So we've seen him perform. Had a bad ankle injury in the past. Like they need kind of a vertical threat, whether they seem to like him a little bit more than they like Kyle Williams at this point. So, look, if you think that they are garbage, he's probably in a pretty good spot for week 2 against the Dolphins secondary that we just picked on. All right. So if you think the Pats are bad, they're going to be in, negative game scripts. They got a nice soft matchup here against the Dolphins, for a short-term waiver wire, not a bad look.
Yeah.
Steph Diggs also. I mean,
what's that?
Steph Diggs also did not look good.
Oh, shocker. Washed up Steph Diggs didn't look good. Color me surprised.
He might be on a boat with Cardi by week 4 or 5 here, down in Miami, honestly.
Well, it's a good thing, though. If Miami can jump out to a lead in this game, Drake Bortles can unlock Kayshon Boutte for the rest of the season.
Drake Bortles. Oh, my God.
He does his best. No one has been better being down like 10-plus points since Blake Bortles than Drake Bortles.
This is offensive. Look, last year they were the worst roster in the league. So his sample of playing from 10 points behind is pretty large. I don't think it'll be as big this year, but we'll see. But yeah, Boutte, short term, fine. They went away from Demario Douglas, who had like 4 targets in the first drive and then was like a ghost for the rest of the game. As someone who was sweating over 3.5 Douglas receptions, I thought we were cruising, and then that fell apart real quick. So yeah, I mean, it was a pretty flat target share across the board, but route participation, the Boutte stuff looks pretty good.
Yes, he would be my preference, honestly. I think of all of the Patriots receivers right now, and unlike the 3 that I mentioned earlier from the Chiefs and Chargers, you can actually go pick him up, where he's like 1% owned in fantasy leagues. I will throw out one more guy, because just me sweating. I had Denver as my best bet at -8, so it ended up being a push. Obviously, I had them in Survivor, and it was getting dicey there for a minute. But Justice Sotomayor, I'm going to figure out what his real name is here in a second. But on Tennessee, ended up with 7 targets. Like they were looking for him. Like he was very clearly the number 2 for Cam Ward. Now, I don't know if that's because they basically just threw away Calvin Ridley on Surtain until very late in the game, that this was just the one matchup they felt like they maybe were able to exploit. Now they didn't. He ended up with 2 catches for 13 yards. Alec Iomanor is where I'm going, or Ao Manor. Maybe if he's a little bit better, I'll learn how to actually pronounce his name. But his overall involvement kind of shocked me while watching the game.
I don't think he's bad. Also, this is like if he's involved now against the Denver team that's really good too. So it's not just Surtain. Like they have a lot of other good players too. So like I was encouraged with his involvement, his usage. Like he beat out some veteran players to become a starter immediately. Like good, has reasonable draft capital. Like I think that Cam Ward, it was obviously a very shaky first start, but there were some flashes of good things of like exactly what we talked about. Like the kid could be a baller against like in much better matchups. I mean, this Denver defense could legit be probably as a top 3 unit and maybe the best in the league, honestly.
Yeah, Major Rawls in the chat just said, just bought 2 Survivor entries, $350 off Sharp Stack. Too good to pass up. You should be getting an email either tomorrow or the next day to get your code in there, and then use code Mayo. And then, boom, you get another 25% off anyway. So shout out to you, Major Rawls. That's the way to play it. Any other guys that really stuck out to you? Because we talked about Dylan Sampson. Dylan Sampson, I feel like in any real competitive league, is probably already owned. Like, was there any running back that you looked at outside of him to be like, yeah, I could pick that guy up. I could see that.
Well, no running backs got hurt, so that's the problem.
Yeah.
It's like it was like a bunch of receivers got hurt, and so then no running backs got hurt. So I think you just kind of wait. You put some, keep your fab in the holster and get ready to unload. Unless you need a receiver, I think there's some good options there. Tight end Juwan Johnson led the team in target share for the Saints. I mean, again, they threw the ball like 40 something times from Rattler, but they're probably gonna be doing that a lot, so that's not a big deal. And then Cedric Tillman, I think, is gonna be the Browns' #1 receiver for most of the season, or like neck and neck with Judy, and maybe even better if things break his way.
Like, would you pick up Fannin, Noonan?
I mean, he's a great looking tight end premium FFPC leagues. I'm sure he'll be, getting a pretty good amount of budget for some people. Look, I mean, in terms of like just your standard one tight end league, probably not. I mean, it's not like Njoku wasn't involved. But he's a pretty talented guy. They are another team that's talking about running more 12-2 tight end sets. So I think he's going to be involved in that offense and kind of fits with like low A dot dink and dunk stuff that seems to be where Flacco was at. So in deeper leagues, maybe tight end premium leagues for sure.
Yeah, Njoku still ran routes on 85% of dropbacks. They did play a few more 2 tight end sets, but it just felt like the Sampson matchup and the Fannin matchup. It's funny because they're both rookies. Maybe the Bengals just did their advanced scouting and they completely forgot about these 2 guys because they were just wide open the entire time.
You think the Bengals pay for advanced scouts?
No. Maybe they're like, with ChatGPT, maybe they're getting better.
That's actually probably.
Please, who do we stop on the Browns?
They still have the free version as well, by the way. There's no chance they're upgrading to the paid GPT version.
They're on 3.0, ChatGPT 3.0 still. Getting guys who aren't even on the team anymore. That's who they're looking to cover. That's how you miss Harold Fannin and Dylan Sampson.
Yeah, I would caution. I know a lot of people are going to pick up Daniel Jones and stream him this week. I don't think he's like a bad pickup if you are like desperately need a quarterback for more than this week. But they played Denver this week. I don't feel like that's going to go as well.
No, I wish I had the stones. I wanted to sell Connor on like I think his combined rushing and passing yards number was like 232 or something like that. And I really wanted, like, he was 199.5 passing yards. I'm like, man, I like Daniel Jones this week. Should I bet Daniel Jones props? I just didn't have the stones to do it.
A reminder to smash the like and sub to the channel while you're here. That will be very helpful. And I'm still doing that $250 giveaway. If you subscribe to the Pat Mayo Experience on Apple and or Spotify, leave a 5-star review, boom, you're in the draw. You do all 3 of those things, sub here, sub there, sub there, and you get 3 entries in that draw. We're giving that away tomorrow evening on the Spread Pick Show. Last thing we need to talk about is Monday Night Football. You guys going to the game?
I'm gonna go. I'm gonna be tailgating with some people. I'll be outside. Probably watch the game in the parking lot. I don't know. Just have a good time.
I'm a dad in the burbs, Pat.
You're like me. Just watch it on TV. Maybe tape the second half. Go to bed. Wake up. Watch the rest in the morning.
Correct. I will pause at halftime. I'll tuck in my 4-year-old. Come back and have to stay offline because I'll be tape delayed. It's standard island game football watching for me.
There's like a 50-50 chance that simultaneously I'll be like doing like fireball shots or something like at the same time Noonan's putting his kid to sleep. I think that's like our balance there as a duo.
I mean, I would say I don't drink liquor. I gave up liquor like 15 years ago outside of the very odd occasion where it's someone's birthday, I'll do a shot with someone. Outside of Fireball, Connor, because I have that in my golf bag for birdie juice.
Love that.
I love Fireball too. Not a big drinker. Connor knows this, but Fireball, especially on the golf course, it's definitely, you make a birdie, got to go in there, crack open a Fireball and keep it moving.
My friends at CoolBet have gotten back to me. They have offered up. They have matched best in market on Zacchaeus anytime touchdown at 7-1. That's under the PME exclusive tab on CoolBet.com right now. That's for anyone in Canada outside of Ontario. Go take advantage of that. You can get a deposit bonus down in the description by clicking through that link. So, what do you guys think of this game? You're probably. I mean, we know that Brian, you're a Patriots fan who lives in Chicago, and Connor, you're wearing a Bears hat, so I assume you're taking the Bears. But it's still plus 1.5. Home dogs, Bears. I like the Bears in this game. I know Jared's rolling with the Bears, and he had some compelling arguments on the Best Bet show that Ben Johnson has played the Vikings pretty well, at least from the offensive side of the ball last season. And Chicago actually played Minnesota fairly tight last year, that maybe this is just a bad spot for J.J. McCarthy to come into. Maybe it's the Bears plus 1.5. I like it.
Go for it, Connor.
I was going to say, I'm in on the Bears. I think that they're in a good spot for, I know, shocker, right? The guy wearing the Bears hat is also in the Bears. Just the way that these teams match up, Ben Johnson has really killed the Vikings the last time they've played. And I think that's part of the matchup here is like Flores brings the blitz a lot. He is going to bring a lot of crazy pressure. But I think Ben Johnson has to have the answer to that, which based on past performance, I think that he somewhat does. Getting the ball out quick, making sure that they're prepared, maybe keeping more guys even into block. Like you're probably going to, maybe you do see a lot of Cole Kmet. It's a lot of 12 personnel. Just like have Cole Kmet as another blocker, like the whole game basically. And then maybe sneaking out for like some screens here and there. Like that's, I think, a very possible, very viable outcome offensively for this team. And then defensively, you're looking at J.J. McCarthy with Justin Jefferson, who's banged up most of camp, no Jordan Addison, Adam Thielen, who's like 38 years old at this point. No, that's probably 36, I think, at this point. But Jalen Naylor, who had just come back from a hand surgery, and then TJ Hawkinson. So, like, their entire receiving core is either geriatric or injured. And so it's like a really tough spot for a rookie, or basically a rookie quarterback in J.J. McCarthy against a Bears team that under Dennis Allen, I think could be pretty decent. Not elite, not, amazing, but 10 to 15 range, somewhere in that range, I think is more than reasonable, maybe even better. Who knows?
I like the game. I think it's going to be a fascinating game. Connor and I were talking about it early in the week that either way, it's like sets up so well for the barking ESPN shows on Tuesday morning, because it's either, Ben Johnson's this guy, and look what he's going to do with Caleb, or, JJ's not ready. This is why Michigan was hiding him. Like, he's just going to be a disaster. It sets up for all of the, Tuesday morning talking show bits. It is a fascinating matchup. You look at the last 4 times that they played, Jared Goff had a completion percentage above 70%, lower radar stuff, to Connor's point, getting the ball out quickly. I think we see that. I do have concerns about this Bears defense right now too. They'll be without TJ Edwards. Their like signal caller, middle linebacker, was really important. This is a bad run defense last year. They'll be worse without him. Kyler Gordon, who I also thought it was going to be a tackle play for me tonight. He's questionable at nickel corner. He plays a really important role for them in the run game as well. Jalen Johnson, they're arguably their best defender. Their outside perimeter corner I think he's going to play, but he hasn't really practiced much at all in camp. He's not 100%. So they're not like coming in as pillars of health either, especially on the defensive side. So I don't have a great feel. I think you should probably take points at home in this spot. Again, if like they weren't making us pay -140 or -150 on teasers, I think the Bears as a teaser leg would be something that's of interest, because you can get them through the 3 and the 7. But like, unfortunately, 6-point long teasers are, rest in peace. I don't know what's going on. It's just it's bonkers. But I think there's some interesting prop angles kind of with this thought process, right? If they want to hide JJ a little bit, I think you probably see a team that's skewing run heavy. So, and I think you could see some completion stuff from an efficiency standpoint that's a little bit better with Caleb, because they're going to get the ball out quicker and maybe have some lower ADOT stuff. There's some prop angles, I think, to attack.
Well, tell me about these prop angles. I need the prop angles. If you go to 4for4.com/Mayo right now, you get 25% off and a free week of Sharp Stack, or you can enter the Survivor twice right now. That'll cost you $100, and that will get you $350 off Sharp Stack. You'll get that email if you do that before Wednesday. I just checked into that to get in on it. So I would highly recommend you do that. Then use code Mayo, get yourself that 25% off. Right now, DeAndre Swift receiving yards is the most EV bet you can make just of general props in this game tonight. After that, it's my main man Zacchaeus under 21.5 yards at -110. Then Aaron Jones rushing attempts under 12.5 at -116. But to kind of face back about what you guys just said, I don't know if I trust that one.
Yeah, I don't know Connor, how do you see that backfield shaking out? I mean, I think we see Jordan Mason involved quite a bit, but I don't know how we see that shaking out.
Yeah, I see a lot of Jordan Mason, honestly, in this one. They brought him in from San Francisco because they wanted to keep Aaron Jones fresh, because they wanted him to be like the 1B to Aaron Jones 1A. So Aaron Jones is going to start. But I think that as the game progresses, again, all the stuff we talked about with JJ McCarthy's first start and all the receiving core, et cetera, like kind of banged up, I would not be surprised to see them go pretty run heavy here. So I'm not necessarily apt to take, Aaron Jones rushing under or any rushing under here. I think Mason rushing over, in fact, is actually pretty interesting against, the Vikings offensive line is great. They're in a really good spot, I think. And so some grounded pound for this Vikings team could make a lot of sense. It's like you have Mason kind of as the thumper between the tackles, and then you have just some pitch plays to Aaron Jones or kind of some outside zone stuff here and there. So I think there's a lot of different ways that they can use these two. But either way, I think both overs are somewhat interesting here.
Jordan Mason's at FanDuel right now is the best number in price. It's 37.5 -112.
Yeah, I like it. I've been eyeing it all week. It opened to
it
opened low 30s, and we missed it. It went up to low 40s. Now it's coming back down a little bit to mid 30s. I'm kind of in.
Yeah, so the angle that I like to take on these, especially, so there were 46 running backs last year in the league that had at least 100 carries. Jordan Mason was top 3 in explosive run rate, yards after contact per attempt, and missed tackles forced. Top 3 out of 46. Now he's playing against with a significantly better offensive line against the run D that's missing their best run stopper, missing a nickel that helps a lot. Jordan Mason, longest rush over 12.5 yards is a play that I really, really like this week. So again, that kind of fits the explosive rate, forcing his tackles. 12.5 is a pretty low number. So again, if he's getting, 10 attempts, is probably where I think he probably is in that range, right? So 8 to 12 or so, I think he could probably get here. I like it over 12.5 longest rush.
So I'll play that one on. We'll try to build an underdog entry as we go through this. Code Mayo at underdog. Get yourself a free pick, deposit bonus, play a $5 entry, get free $50. It's like a triple bonus if you use code Mayo. I asked them to help me out with that, to help you guys out with that. I'm looking at the tackle props right now. If you live in Florida, Noonan, you should just move there because Hard Rock released everything.
Yeah, we'll still live in Florida. Just an absolute disaster. Yeah, I mean, it's pretty light. Their number on Edmonds is a little light, considering he should get a lot of opportunities. We think it's going to skew run heavy. Just a pretty inefficient tackler for 3+ years now. Makes it maybe a little bit easier. But Noah Sewell is probably filling in, and we're not going to get a Noah Sewell line, who I think probably eats some of those tackles away. So, like I said, I like Kyler Gordon if he was lined at 4.5 and we knew he was active and 100%. Now I don't feel really good about it. Late add to the injury report here. Concerns about Minnesota too. Minnesota's they also have some secondary concerns here. Harrison Smith is out for this one. They run a lot of 3 safety stuff. Cam Bynum is their deep safety. He's now in Indy. So they're relying on basically, 2 guys that haven't been a massive part of their routine. Theo Jackson's going to play. We don't really know who's going to be the 3rd guy consistently. So there's going to be some opportunities for I like Rome. I know Connor already talked about the Rome over 3.5 receptions. Rome explosive plays seem to be a thing last year and in the preseason. So I think you're going to be able to take advantage of those times where the Bears offensive line holds up. Caleb likes to throw deep. They threw deep fairly often last year. And again, I know it's a new coordinator, but that's kind of, I think, in his DNA. So some of that stuff on Rome is pretty interesting too.
So to recap what I'm up to, again, cool bet that 7-1 anytime touchdown for Zacchaeus. I'm also playing the first touchdown at 33-1 for Zacchaeus. We got Jordan Mason over 12.5 longest rush. Romadunze. What is that paying right now? What's the best number you can find? Is it still -120 for over 3.5 receptions, Connor?
Yeah, it's I found kind of, again, with the EV tool here, just a -115 at one of the exchanges. I'm seeing 3.5. It's I see it's -145 routinely. So I don't know if you're gonna be able to add that to the slip, but I'm not trying to pay that juice. But again, -115 found just a rogue number sitting there. So
would
it's
you
still probably a good look, but
to kind of piggyback on what Noonan just said, would you just go 20.5 over longest reception?
I think so. Longest reception there, I think, is probably the move. I mean, the Vikings allowed some of the most receptions to opposing wide receivers in the league last season. And I think part of that was just because they're sending random guys, like, just like to blitz. So there's randomly guys open, and then they're obviously have to sit back a little bit with some of the zone blitzes. So I think that all the receivers can honestly crush. Which one? Not sure. That's why I'm more apt to take a Caleb Williams passing yard prop as well, which again sounds super square to take the passing over, but it's only 217.5 yards. Like, that's not very much for a team that I think could throw the ball plenty. The Vikings run defense is really good. How much run do they give Swift and Monungai? I don't know. I think that they're probably going to be pretty pass heavy here, to be honest.
So you guys like points in this game. So why don't we just, I just played this while you guys were talking, kind of describing the back ends of both these defenses. We talked about the teaser leg for the Brown. I mean, if you don't want to play a teaser, I completely get it, but you can tease 1.5 up to 7.5 and just tease the over down and play that.
Oh, same game teaser.
I mean, I've been crushing. I've been crushing them. The fade parlay that we gave out, Noonan, because we previewed both the Island games last week. And at the very end, I actually made it the teaser of the show. I was like, what you watch? So you just fade us and play a 4-leg parlay. You play Chargers money line, the over in that game, the under in the other game, and the Cowboys. Boom, you would have won a ton of money.
Yeah. Yeah, same. Like, people will tell you that you're not supposed to tease totals. Look, I'm not above it. I've done it before. Subscribers that really like alt team legs, would take bad teams that I don't expect to do much, and then take their team total and boost it up around key numbers. Do the same thing with, you think good offenses, get them on the right side and over 16.5 or stuff like that. Hey, part of it's fun. Part of it's you want to cheer for some stuff you think is going to happen. Not everything has to be EV. Live a little here too. So I don't hate it, Pat.
The other one I was looking at, because I want to find a third leg to this. One thing that I did, because I actually drafted a bunch of Caleb Williams in fantasy coming into the year, is that I think that he gets very underrated in the running game. Yeah. What about a longest rush for Caleb Williams? It's 10.5.
Yeah, I looked into it a little bit. I think he hit it about a little bit more than half the time last year. Sometimes he really hit it. It's a decent spot. Again, just a team that's going to flush you out because of a ton of blitzing opportunities. So you don't have to have the design runs. You're going to get kind of a spike in, probably scrambles based off of what the Vikings force you to do. So
that's exactly what I was thinking, Connor, that if the offensive line deteriorates, he gets flush. I mean, he did that thing last year where he looked like a deer on ice when he was trying to stand in the pocket sometimes under pressure. But if you can get away from that, everyone else is just kind of gone, so we can take off running.
Yeah, and all it takes is one, right? He's probably going to do that once or twice, and he's going to get absolutely whacked or, hold on to the ball, and it's going to be bad. But then one time he's going to scoot out of there, have a bunch of open grass in front of him, and rip a 15-yarder. So all it takes is one.
All it takes is one is the logo and our catchphrase here at 4for4 on the longest plays. Look, you can be dead. If you have to chase, 230 passing yards over, and you get in the fourth quarter and he's got $110, you're dead. But if you need a Caleb longest pass over 35.5 yards, only takes one. You're still alive.
So the other ones I was considering to make the third leg of this. So DeAndre Swift receiving yards under 16.5. JJ McCarthy passing attempts 31.5 under. Jalen Naylor under 1.5. That one's pretty risky biz considering he's one of their kind of healthy players.
Yeah, I was looking at the McCarthy pass attempts under. It was pretty close to their median last year with Sam Darnold. I do think they go ground and pound, so I'm still contemplating that as an official play on my end. I think it's probably a pretty good look. The only scenario here is where that doesn't look good is if, the Bears just come out and absolutely shellac the Vikings and then they're just playing from behind and, which I think is in the range of outcomes, but I don't think that's the most likely outcome by any means.
Right, early season last year, they did not have over 31.5 attempts until week 8. Yeah. So they started out a little conservative last year with Sam Darnold, I think, until he proved himself. I think we can probably assume that that's probably something they probably do game plan wise with JJ as well. So 31.5 is definitely something I expected to hear Connor talk about today.
All right, so I'm going to throw that one in. I just played the 3-banger on underdog. Jordan Mason higher than 12.5 longest rush. Romadunze, Italia's own, over 20.5 or 21.5, sorry, longest reception, because that's what it was on underdog. And then JJ McCarthy under 31.5 passing attempts. That's in the live chat right now. So even if you're watching this back in the on-demand portion, you can open up the live chat on YouTube and just see the link right there. It'll bring you directly to it, and it has code Mayo baked into it. So you get all those bonuses along with it if you are a new player. What I should be doing, though, is just betting these 3 independently, correct?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So when I win 2 of them, I'm going to be like, oh, yeah, I'm hitting at a 66% rate, and I have $0 to my name. What do you guys got going on later this week?
You move the line. Our Tuesday preview show, so we'll dig a little bit more into some of our takeaways from week 1. We pretty much flushed them out here. We'll take an early look at week 2. So that's on the YouTube channels, 4 for 4 live. Move the line wherever you listen to podcasts. Lots of Sharp Stack, little shows from us, probably 15, 20-minute Sharp Stack shows. Probably every day from someone at the company, just kind of looking at as lines post. And then Prop Drop Friday, 3 p.m. Eastern. Again, same channels, Move the Line podcast, 4 for 4 live on the YouTubes.
Well, I'll talk to you guys again next Monday. Join that Survivor League. If you get 2 entries or more, you get $350 off Sharp Stack. You get the free DFS package. If that's what you want, you get to pick your option. You'll get an email about it within 2 days. Then you can use code Mayo. I highly recommend Sharp Stack. Like I said, I hit a bunch of winners. I just tried to parlay them all together and lost all my money because, hey, that's not what you want to be doing, apparently. All right? And let us know down in the comment section just different topics for Mondays that you want to hear about. We're easy. We're going to be live. We're just hanging out here as you eat your lunch or whatever the hell you're doing on a Monday, listening to us, and we'll take that to heart and we'll get on it. All right. So thank you all for watching. Smash the like on the way out, sub to the channel, and I will see you next time.